Juraba por su madre, juraba por su madre, no cumple juramento, merece un castigo.
Hello, my name is Meira Goldberg, and I am going to talk to you today about a pataíta. I'm going to do an anatomy or an analysis of a pataíta, or little step in flamenco, which I call the pellizco, or the pinch. In this wonderful video that I just played for you, you can see that this is a group of people who are not professionals. These are construction workers, and they are getting together in a moment of leisure, and they're doing something that they have probably done, their whole lives. This is a communal practice. This is a marker of identity, and they're doing something which is very simple and just fun and pleasurable to all of them, I would imagine, judging from the looks of the video. But when it comes down to me explaining to you what's going on here, it's actually really, really complicated. So there's a sort of a series of codes and things that are happening, interactions that are happening in terms of the rhythm, in terms of the melody, in terms of the verse that they're singing, that are complicated and difficult to explain. So I'm going to just talk to you a little bit about the verse that they're singing. They're saying juraba por su madre. The word is actually madre, but they're speaking in a southern accent. I would guess that these men are from the south of Spain or Andalusia, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're from a city called Jerez de la Frontera, which is a city which is really one of the nerve centers of flamenco, and in particular of this rhythm that they're doing, which is called bulerías. Bulerías comes from the word burlar, or to make fun of. And they're saying, juraba por su madre y no cumple juramento, merece un castigo grande. So the rough translation of that is, he who swears on his mother's life and doesn't fulfill that oath deserves a terrible punishment. So I'm going to just play it for you and, use my cursor to help you follow the words.
Juraba por su madre, juraba por su madre, no cumple juramento, merece un castigo.
So you can see that the whole aim of this little clip is to get to the ending of that verse. And you can see that at the ending of that verse, there's just a lot of pleasure and joy. Sometimes I say about the pellizco that it's sort of like an electric shock that passes in the circle. It's like it's kinesthetic, but it's also emotional, and it's not always associated with pleasure, but it's definitely an emotional. It can be lots of different emotions, but it's definitely an emotional and corporeal or kinesthetic energy that moves through the group. Sometimes I say it's like, that sip of hot chocolate that you take, and everybody it's like a shiver of pleasure or pain that goes through the group. And you can see, for example, in this verse, it's just pretty interesting in the sense that it's a festive, they're just having fun, they're being very casual, they're enjoying what we might call their cultural competency. They're enjoying how good they are at doing this. And yet the verse that they're singing, which is part of the traditional, oral songbook, is something that's a very serious subject matter. So, and those two things can live together very easily in the flamenco world. So the rhythm that they're doing, as I mentioned, is called bulerías. Bulerias is a 6/8. And in flamenco, we count as if we were looking at the face of a clock. So we start counting on 12 at the top of the clock. So we would say 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this would be a full 12 would be 2 measures of 6/8, right? So 12 is 1 and 6 is the second one. 12 is 1 and 6 is the second one. And each measure of 6 holds within it the potentiality of being accented in either 2s or in 3s. So, for example, if I'm doing my feet, I'm stamping my foot on every other beat. So I'm saying 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? That's the even numbers, right? That 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. But if you think about what I'm doing in my hands, I'm actually going 12, 3, 6, 9, 12, 3, 6, 9, 12, 3, 6, 9. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Very easy, right? And I want to say I'm somebody who is a practitioner and a scholar of flamenco. I have taught flamenco improvisation and flamenco dance for decades. And I will tell you from experience that to teach somebody how to walk on 2s, right, left, right, left, right, left, it's very, very easy. Likewise, it's very easy to teach someone to walk on 3s. 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But the overlay of the 3 and the 2, and I always say that the ground, or sort of the ground of bulerías is that 2. What you hear in my feet: 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Everybody's going to come together. Both the accentuation on the 3s and the 2s are going to come together on that 12 or the 6. 12, 12, 12, 12. So that 12 feels like it's going downward. It feels like it's going down to the ground. But later in the measure of 6/8, the 2, 3, 4, right? So if I'm marking 12, 2, 4 in the bottom and only 12 and 3 in the top, we're coming together on 12. And then I have 2 in the foot, 3 in the hand, 4 in my foot. That is not an easy thing to teach. And the reason why it's hard is because once you've established this ground that's nice and solid and even, to punch out into that 3, which punches into the space between the 2 and the 4, is really hard to do. And when you punch out into the 3, what that does is it somehow highlights the next beat, the following beat, which is the 4. So what you end up with is a rhythm that says 12, 3, 4, 12, 3, 4, 12, 3, 4, 12, 3, 4. And I'm going to just play for you. It's interesting because when they set this thing up, when this little rhythm is set up, this bulerías is set up, before the singer starts, you're going to hear this person that I call the jaleador, the person who's going to give jaleos. He's going to say things that are also going to complement. These are like vocalizations that are going to complement the rhythm and the song as it unfolds. And you'll see that he is going to say, ea, 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 ea. He only does it once, but I'm going to play it for you in a second. But it goes 12, 1, 3, 4, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going to just play that real quick for you. That was it. Okay. And that 3/4 is what I'm going to call the pellizco, or the pinch. It's something that has a lot of upward impetus to it. Okay. And as I said, each measure, because each measure has the potentiality of being accentuated in twos or in threes, each measure has that 3/4, has those two notes that go together, those two beats that go together, that are distinctive. They're very characteristic of all of Spanish music and other traditions, which we can talk about at some other point. And they pull upward. Okay, so one of the things about flamenco improvisation is that I will have protagonism. I'm going to be the singer. I have protagonism. I have the spotlight. I can go on for as long as I want. And what I always say to my students is, it's like throwing up a ball in the air. I'm going to just like throw my ball up in the air and just mess around and do what I'm going to do. I have the spotlight. I have protagonism. And then there's a certain point at which I'm going to grab it, and then I'm going to toss it to you. And that place where I'm going to grab it is the 3/4, 3/4. That's the pellizco, right? And so this 3/4 is an important inflection point where it could indicate that I'm going to keep the ball, I'm going to keep the spotlight, right? And it could indicate that I am going to grab it and throw it to you and let you have your moment in the sun, okay? And so what we're going to see here is that at the very end, right? So we're going to, if each of these measures of 6 has this pellizco, or this 3/4 in it, it has the potentiality of going, like, for example, if I were going to finish something off, I would take it, instead of up, I would take it down, right? So 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, bahia, da, 3/4, 12, 3/4, 6, 8, 10. And I would stop the action by going down on the 10. But if I want to pull it up, if I pull it up, it's like to kind of keep the ball up in the air, let's just say. Okay. And so I'm going to just play for you now. I'm going to just talk to you a little bit about another element of this, the codes that govern this unfolding verse, which is, and then I'll come back to the rhythm at the end. But I'm going to talk to you about the melody, because the melody is another aspect of what is going to cue everybody into what's going on. So for example, if on this 3/4, if I go up as opposed to going down, right, that's going to tell people what direction we're moving, or whether we're going up or whether we're going down in the verse, whether we're, continuing on, or whether we're bringing it back home and finishing it off. Rematar the letra is a very basic value in flamenco. The melody is also going to do the same thing, okay? So this verse is structured in 3 lines. And what I always say when I teach improvisation in flamenco is that you can think about almost any flamenco verse you can treat almost any flamenco verse as if it has 3 lines, which I call A, B, and C. That's kind of obvious, right? And the first line is the line which is the freest, it's the most open, it has the most potential to be virtuosic. So he says, "Juraba por su madre, juraba por su madre," right? He sings that twice, right? As the singer, at that moment, he has the ability to extend that line if he wanted to. He has the ability to extend it and take a break and then repeat it. It's the line where a knowledgeable flamenco person understands that it's the moment when we really have to sort of hang back and listen and follow. This is the virtuosic turn. This is the place where we're going to see the greatest artistry of the person who's singing. And then this is a melody that's high up. So juraba por su madre. And then when we get to the second and third line, these two lines are going to work as a unit. So if they're repeated, they're going to be repeated as a unit. So you could say, juraba por su madre. I extend that first line a lot. Juraba por su madre, right? And then I repeated it with another melody, okay? And then if I go, y no cumple juramento, merece un castigo grande. Y no cumple juramento, merece un castigo grande. So if I were going to repeat the second and third line, I would repeat them as a unit, just to say, okay? So the melody that they're doing, that they're singing, is different than the one I just did. I'm not a singer, not a guitarist, this is all with utmost humility, right? But the first line, the melody of the first line is juraba por su madre, and then y no cumple juramento. Down. By the time we say do, juramento, we're down on the home tone. And this line then, this second line, the B line, is a transition melodically. It's something that the guitars sometimes call a cambio, right? Which means a change. It's a change of chord, right? And what it's doing is, if the first line has had a free flight, a fancy flight, can go wherever it wants to go, within certain traditions. The second line is now giving us all the warning that we are going to come in, that we're going to land the plane. We're coming to this final verse, merece un castigo grande. We're down. We have landed the plane. We're down on the home tone. So, y no cumple juramento. That note is the same, merece un castigo grande. So that last line really just hovers on that home tone. And this last line then is going to be the remate. It's going to be the ending of the verse. So if you think about the way this works sort of improvisationally in terms of the melody, we have that first line, which is going to be very free and open. It has the most potential for invention and improvisation and virtuosity. And then the second line is going to wake everybody up. Okay, were you off in a beautiful fantasy land following that first line? Now you're going to recognize, coming to the end of the film, right? Coming to the end of the verse. And then this last one is the one where we're all going to come together and rematar the verse. So I'm going to show you this one more time, just for you to hear melodically what's going on. And then I'm going to talk to you about that last line and what's happening rhythmically and gesturally.
Juraba por su madre, juraba por su madre, no cumple juramento, merece un castigo.
Now, I want to say that this guy, who I'm calling the jaleador, right? He has a lot of protagonism in this verse, and so we've done that first line. It's been a flight of fantasy. He decided to repeat it twice. He's doing a very simple and traditional melody, and then the second line, y no cumple juramento, they do a melodic transition. We're basically in a holding pattern in terms of what's happening rhythmically in that middle line. So that would be, basically, if you could think of it as 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, over and over again, right? We're just keeping the ball going in the air. 3, 4, it's going upward. And then this very last sign, merece un castigo grande, right? That would be 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Mere, that's the 12. Re, this middle syllable is the 12. And what you're going to see is that this guy, the jaleador, who I'm calling the jaleador, is going to go 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So he's going 12, 1, 2, and 3, 4 with his feet, 3, 4, that big gesture up. So this is, if I say that the 3, 4 is in every measure of 6, 8 as a microscopic pellizco, as the potentiality, right? You can do your remate, you can finish off, you can take it in a new direction, right? You can grab the ball and throw it at any place in that, at any of those 3, 4s. So any of those measures has the potential of doing that in terms of the way it works rhythmically. Of course, the words that are being said and the melody are also very important factors that are part of what make this complicated. But if you think about that little 3, 4 motif as the microscopic pellizco that exists within every measure of 6, 8, in terms of the macro, in terms of the verse, which is, as I said before, our goal in life is to finish off the verse, to rematar la letra, right? This is the big thing that this jaleador is doing is by going casti, 3, 4, 3, 4, right? Everybody is going up. Everybody, he really punches his sound into the verse, and everybody pulls up. This is like the big electric shock that goes through the group. It's not a shock in a bad way. It's like a wave of energy that goes through the group, and that we all understand we're here. This is the moment. This is the final moment, right? And then on grande, right, which is the next 6, the next 12, the next downbeat. So merece un castigo grande, right? And it's a 12, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 6, right? And you'll see that on that 6, on that grande, everyone in the group says ole. There's like a general, we all go up in a corporeal way, and 3, 4, and then we go down verbally. We all say ole, right? And at the same time, you'll see this guy in the corner here, my jaleador, is going to go, he's going to do a gesture which is a very traditional gesture. This is a gesture you'll see always, and everywhere. It's just part of our basic corporeal language. And that is, he's kind of gathering it in. He's kind of going to gather it in, and then he's going to pop it out. I always call this like diving into a swimming pool, right? It's sort of like you pull it in, grande, but, and he kind of pops, everybody's going to pop out on that 10. And what's interesting also, I think, is that this guy, the singer, he doesn't actually sing that last word. He doesn't say grande, because everybody knows the verse. Really, it's like casti, right? The pellizco, casti, that's really the place that kind of finished the whole thing off. And this grande that follows is really, you'll see that they all get up from the table and go, oh, wow, wasn't that great, or it could be, where the protagonism would be passed to somebody else. So this could be casti, could be where I grab the ball and then I toss it to you. So now it's your turn in the sun. So I'm going to just play this one more time.
Juraba por su madre, juraba por su madre, no cumple juramento, merece un castigo.
Thank you.